Imagine a world where Australians ride kangaroos to school, Canadians sleep in igloos, and every Frenchman is born holding a baguette. Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, believe it or not, these are just a few of the wild stereotypes people, especially Americans, still believe about the rest of the world. Today, we're going to break down the 34 dumbest myths Americans believe about other countries. Some will make you laugh, some will make you shake your head, and others will make you wonder how these ideas even started. Stick around until the end. And of course, if you enjoy learning and laughing at the same time, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. 1. Australians ride kangaroos to school. This is probably the most famous and funniest myth about Australia. People imagine kids hopping through Sydney traffic, clinging to kangaroo ears like handlebars. The truth? No Australian has ever used a kangaroo as public transport. Kangaroos are wild animals, powerful enough to injure a grown adult with a single kick. In reality, Australians drive cars, take buses, and hop on trains just like Americans. Kangaroos are mostly found in the wild, and sometimes they cause car accidents rather than give anyone a lift. The only kangaroo rides you'll see are in cartoons or jokes. 2. Canadians live in igloos. This stereotype comes from the Inuit people of northern Canada, who historically built igloos as temporary shelters. But Canada is huge, and most people live in modern houses, condos, or apartments in bustling cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. Here's a fact: over 80% of Canadians live within 100 miles of the US border. Their climate is similar to states like Michigan or Minnesota. So no, Canadians don't spend their winters inside ice blocks. They're more likely to be watching hockey in a heated living room. 3. All French people wear berets and striped shirts. Thanks to movies and old cartoons, Americans often picture every French person in a beret, striped shirt, and carrying a baguette. While the baguette part isn't completely wrong, they are very popular. The rest is outdated. Today, Paris fashion looks just like New York fashion. Jeans, jackets, sneakers, you name it. Berets are more of a cultural symbol or fashion statement, not an everyday uniform. Ironically, this stereotype stuck because of old Hollywood movies trying to make French identity easy to recognize on screen. 4. England rains every single day. England has a reputation for being eternally wet. And yes, it does rain a lot, but here's the twist: New York actually gets more annual rainfall than London. The difference is that in England, the rain comes in drizzles and gloomy skies, which makes it feel never-ending. So while London isn't sunny California, the idea that it rains non-stop is simply false. There are clear skies and warm summers too, though the British will still complain about the weather no matter what. 5. Germans eat sausages and drink beer for every meal. Sure, Germany is famous for bratwurst and Oktoberfest beer, but that's just part of their cuisine. Germans eat bread, cheeses, vegetables, meats, pastries, and regional dishes that vary across the country. A German breakfast, for example, might include rolls with jam and coffee, not a giant sausage platter. Beer is cultural, yes, but Germans also drink plenty of mineral water, tea, and wine. 6. Italians eat pizza and pasta all day long. While pizza and pasta are iconic, Italian cuisine is far more diverse. In northern Italy, you'll find creamy risottos. In the south, lots of seafood. In Tuscany, hearty bean stews. Italians take food seriously, but they don't live inside a never-ending spaghetti buffet. Interestingly, many dishes Americans think of as Italian, like spaghetti and meatballs, were actually created by Italian immigrants in the US, not in Italy itself. 7. Africans all live in huts. Africa is a continent, not a country, and it's home to 54 nations with modern cities, skyscrapers, universities, and tech hubs. Lagos in Nigeria has over 20 million people, hardly a village of huts. Nairobi has major highways and skyscrapers. Cape Town has luxury neighborhoods and a thriving wine industry. Yes, rural areas exist, just like in the US, but reducing all of Africa to mud huts is simply ignorance. 8. Every Irish person drinks Guinness daily. Guinness is an iconic Irish beer, But not every Irish person drinks it, and certainly not every day. In fact, tea is the most popular drink in Ireland, not beer. Like anywhere else, drinking habits vary. Some Irish people don't drink at all. And Guinness, ironically, is now brewed in more than 40 countries, so you might be more likely to find it on tap in New York than in a small Irish village. 9. Russia is frozen year-round. The stereotype of Russia is endless snow, ice, and fur hats. While winters are indeed brutal, Russia is massive. It spans 11 time zones. There are deserts, mountains, and forests across the country. Siberia is icy, yes, but Russia is not one giant freezer. 10. All Middle Eastern countries are deserts. Hollywood often paints the Middle East as an endless sand dune with camels everywhere. In reality, the region has snow-capped mountains in Iran, fertile valleys in Lebanon, and modern cities like Dubai and Doha with more skyscrapers than sand. For example, Lebanon even has ski resorts. So no, the Middle East is not just a desert postcard. 11. Everyone in China eats dogs. This is one of the most damaging stereotypes. While dog meat is consumed in a few regions historically, it's not common, and younger generations in China strongly reject it. In fact, the Chinese government has banned dog meat festivals in some areas due to public pressure. Most Chinese cuisine is incredibly diverse. Think dumplings, noodles, stir-fry, rice dishes, and hot pot. Reducing it to dog eaters is both false and offensive. 12. Every Japanese person knows karate. Thanks to karate movies and anime, many Americans assume every Japanese citizen is a martial artist. While martial arts are respected, not everyone practices them. Just like not every American knows how to wrestle or play baseball. The average Japanese person is more likely to be studying, working, or gaming than breaking wooden boards in their spare time. 13. Scots wear kilts every day. Kilts are traditional Scottish attire, but they're usually worn for weddings, festivals, or cultural events. Daily wear? Not so much. Most Scots wear jeans, suits, or dresses just like anyone else. The idea of Scotland being filled with men in kilts piping bagpipes all day long is more of a tourist fantasy than reality. 14. Indians ride elephants to work. Elephants are sacred animals in Indian culture, but they are not a mode of daily transportation. People in India use cars, buses, rickshaws, trains, and motorcycles. The elephant taxi idea probably comes from tourist spots where elephants are used for rides. But for everyday Indians, elephants are more likely to be seen in temples or wildlife reserves than in rush hour traffic. 15. Mexicans nap all afternoon. The idea of a siesta in Mexico is exaggerated. While midday breaks were historically part of life in hot climates, modern Mexico has work schedules similar to the US and Canada. Most Mexicans work long hours and do not take 3-hour naps in the middle of the day. This stereotype confuses Mexican culture with Spain, where siestas were more common historically, though even there, modern life has changed the habit. 16. Brazilians play soccer non-stop. Ah yes, Brazil, where Americans imagine every single citizen is either juggling a ball on the beach or training to be the next Pelé. While it's true that Brazil is crazy about soccer, FIFA World Cup victories prove it, it's not the only thing Brazilians do. People in Brazil also love volleyball, surfing, jiu-jitsu, and basketball. In fact, Brazil's women's volleyball team is world-class, and the country has produced top fighters in UFC. Brazilians have schools, jobs, and commutes just like anywhere else. They're not all dribbling through life 24/7. 17. All Chinese people are math geniuses. This stereotype paints every Chinese person as a walking calculator who can solve equations faster than a computer. Yes, education is highly valued in China, and students often perform well in math and science, but that doesn't mean every single person is Einstein. Think about it. Does every American automatically know how to play football just because the NFL exists? Of course not. China has artists, musicians, farmers, business people, and plenty of people who are just as bad at math as the rest of us. 18. Canadians only eat maple syrup. Maple syrup is iconic in Canada, but Canadians don't drown every meal in it. Their cuisine includes poutine, fresh seafood, bannock bread, and more. Maple syrup is more of a treat than a food group. Nobody's pouring it over pizza or spaghetti. Well, hopefully not. 19. Everyone in Greece is a philosopher. Many Americans still imagine modern Greeks lounging around in togas, debating Plato and Aristotle. But Greece today is a modern European country, with doctors, engineers, teachers, and baristas serving frappes on the beach. Philosophy is part of Greece's history, not its present-day daily life. It would be like assuming every American is a cowboy just because of the Wild West. 20. In Egypt, people still ride camels everywhere. Here's a classic one. Americans see the pyramids in photos and assume Egyptians use camels as taxis. In reality, camels are mostly for tourists around historic sites. Egyptians drive cars, use metro trains, and ride buses just like anyone else. Cairo alone has over 20 million people. It's traffic jams, honking horns, and Uber rides, not a camel parade. 21. Australians wrestle crocodiles for fun. Thank you, Crocodile Dundee. Because of movies and TV, people think Aussies casually fight crocodiles or wrestle sharks on weekends. Truth is, most Australians avoid crocs and snakes like the plague. Yes, Australia has dangerous wildlife, but the average Aussie is more concerned with their morning coffee than taking down a reptile. Wildlife experts may wrestle crocs for relocation or research, but your average office worker in Sydney? Not so much. 22. All South Koreans are K-pop idols. K-pop exploded worldwide, and now many Americans think South Korea is just one giant boy band rehearsal. The reality? Only a tiny fraction of South Koreans are in the entertainment industry. Most people work in tech, business, teaching, or service industries. South Korea is also home to Samsung, Hyundai, and some of the fastest internet in the world. So yes, BTS is amazing, but the average South Korean is not secretly a backup dancer. 23. In Nigeria, everyone is a prince offering money in emails. Ah, the infamous Nigerian prince email scam. This stereotype unfairly paints Nigerians as scammers. In reality, Nigeria is one of Africa's largest economies, with thriving industries in tech, oil, fashion, and entertainment. The scam emails? They came from a small number of criminals, not 200 million Nigerians. Imagine judging all Americans by the few who run pyramid schemes. Doesn't seem fair, right? 24. Iceland is made entirely of ice. The name is misleading. Ironically, Iceland is quite green, and Greenland has more ice. Iceland has volcanoes, hot springs, waterfalls, and lush landscapes. In fact, it's become a tourist hotspot for its natural beauty. Yes, there's snow in winter, but Icelanders don't live in frozen wastelands. They enjoy geothermal heated homes and even grow vegetables in greenhouses year-round. 25. All Dutch people wear wooden clogs. Clogs are part of Dutch tradition, but you won't see people in Amsterdam cycling to work in them. Today, clogs are mostly tourist souvenirs or worn in cultural festivals. Modern Dutch folks wear sneakers, boots, and heels like everyone else. Imagine trying to bike everywhere in wooden shoes. It'd be a nightmare. 26. All Jamaicans smoke weed daily. This comes from reggae culture and stereotypes around Rastafarians. But not every Jamaican smokes marijuana. In fact, many don't use it at all. Jamaica has rich traditions of food, sports, religion, and community that go far beyond weed. Jamaica gave the world Usain Bolt, jerk chicken, and Bob Marley, not just stereotypes about smoking. 27. Argentinians eat steak every single meal. Argentina is famous for its beef, and yes, steak is a big deal. But eating it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Not true. Argentine cuisine also includes pasta, pizza, empanadas, and mate tea. Steak is cultural, but Argentinians aren't just walking ribeyes. 28. All Cubans drive 1950s cars. Cuba is known for its classic American cars, and they are everywhere. But that's because trade restrictions forced Cubans to maintain and recycle them for decades. However, modern cars also exist in Cuba, especially in tourist zones or government use. So while the streets of Havana do look like a car show from the 1950s, it's not the only thing on the road. 29. Everyone in Saudi Arabia is extremely wealthy. Yes, Saudi Arabia has oil wealth, and some Saudis are billionaires. But like any country, there are middle-class workers, farmers, and even poor communities. Not everyone is driving a gold-plated Lamborghini. Saudi Arabia is modernizing rapidly with new industries, but the idea that every single Saudi is an oil tycoon is pure myth. 30. In Japan, people bow every 5 seconds. Bowing is a form of respect in Japan, but it's not an uncontrollable reflex. People bow when greeting, thanking, or apologizing, but they don't walk around bowing constantly like human bobbleheads. In fact, casual greetings among friends often involve a wave or a nod. The endless bowing stereotype is just exaggeration. 31. Every African country is poor. This stereotype is not just dumb, it's damaging. Africa is a continent with 54 nations, some poor, some wealthy, and many in between. Nigeria has billionaires. South Africa has a strong economy. Kenya has a booming tech scene nicknamed Silicon Savannah. Yes, poverty exists, but Africa also has luxury neighborhoods, industries, and world-class universities. To say the entire continent is poor is like saying every American is a billionaire because of Jeff Bezos. 32. All Germans are serious and have no sense of humor. Hollywood often paints Germans as robotic and humorless. In truth, Germans have comedy shows, festivals, and even wacky traditions like Carnival. German humor is often dry or satirical. It may not always translate, but it exists. Not every German is stuck in serious mode. 33. Everyone in Sweden is blonde and tall. Not all Swedes look like Viking models. Sweden is diverse, with immigrants from around the world. While many are tall and blonde, plenty are not. Sweden is known more for its innovation, like IKEA and Spotify, than for being a country of supermodels. 34. The world outside America is less advanced. This is perhaps the biggest misconception, that America is the ultimate modern nation and others lag behind. But Japan leads in tech, Scandinavia leads in healthcare and social systems, Germany leads in engineering, and so on. The world is diverse, and many countries are just as advanced or even more advanced than the US in certain areas. And there you have it, 34 of the dumbest things Americans believe about other countries. Some are funny, some are insulting, and some are just plain bizarre. But the truth is, every culture is complex, unique, and far richer than the stereotypes. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, especially the ones who think Canadians ride moose to school, or that Egyptians still live in pyramids. Let me know in the comments, what's the funniest stereotype you've ever heard about your country? Until next time, keep learning, keep laughing, and remember, the world is a lot stranger and smarter than stereotypes make it seem.